But it is that time in our service for the talk, the encouragement, the what we may have known from our former church days as the sermon. And our guest speaker, our encourager, our inspirer for today is, for those who do not know her, the amazing and wonderful Dianne Stewart Hamlin. Let's go. I gotta let the people. Do y'all know her? Okay, there's some folks in here who do not know her yet. Okay. So let me fill you in. So, not only is Dianne an amazing mother, an amazing legal professional as a lawyer, an amazing workshop facilitator, an amazing licensed practitioner with 2 licensing organizations, both CSL and Agape. For those who aren't familiar with Agape, it's Reverend Michael Beckwith out in California. So she's licensed by both. That's like practitioner to the 3rd power. So, it's like oh yeah, I go to the gym and I work out. She's a personal trainer. It's like that kind of but also just as like as a person, Dianne is an amazing human being just to know. Having gotten to know her over the last couple of years, first time I met her, I was like, oh, she went to Agape. And it's like, then you get to know her, and it's like, wow, she's like really down to earth, and like she's just a fun person. So be prepared to have your heart burst open, your mind and your consciousness elevated, and let's put our hands together for Dianne.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So I'm like bursting with excitement. Thank you, Raymond. Thank you. And I feel the same way about you. I think you're fantastic. I'm really grateful to be here. If you know me, you know something's going on with my throat. But that's okay. We're just going to like have the appearance of that be what it is. It's distracting me in my ear a little bit because I don't recognize my own voice. So I sort of have to take the power out of it by acknowledging that that's happening for me. So I just came back from vacation, and I had 2 great weeks, right, of just stepping out of the usual day-to-day stuff and spending time with my loves, my parents, my kids, my boyfriend, my family members, cousins, uncles. It was great, right? So I got an opportunity also when you step out of your usual activity, right? If you're really tuned in, you get to stand there with your observer self and watch yourself, right? And you got to get to observe you being you in a different environment and what that looks like, right? So how committed am I? So the talk today, right, is about mind, body, and spirit. And how committed am I to the balance of all those things? And am I getting up and doing the things that I normally do when I'm in my day-to-day routine versus when I have stepped out of that regular everyday thing, right, and stepped out of those rituals and stepped into like this other way of being in the world. So it was really fun to watch myself like be engaged in my own life in a different way, and to be engaged in my spiritual practice, and to be engaged in my mind, body, and spirit stuff, and how much of it was I really into. So some really cool things happened for me. The first thing that happened is I came to the end of a dark night of the soul. And I had been going through this really intense time where I was extremely emotional, angry often, feeling vulnerable and wide open because I was getting ready to step into a new paradigm. And so one of the things that happens when we're stepping into a new paradigm is there's this potential and propensity to want to hold on to the old way because we know how that thing works, right? I know what it's like to get up every day and be in the life that I was living. I know what it's like to get up every day and do the things that I do. And I can wed myself to them, and I can get a padlock and some handcuffs and cuff myself to that thing and be like, this is how my life works. This works for me. This is how I do things. So one of the things that happens is you have said yes, right? Because we all came into the world, every single last one of us, with a thing to do. Whether you willingly do it or not, you're going to have to confront it, and you're going to have to make choices. Some people, you know, they're really spiritually elevated folk just kind of skip through their calling, you know, and they're like, I'm here to create beauty and art, and I'm going to paint and take pictures, and I'm not going to worry about things in the world. And then some of us wrap ourselves around a conditioning that we've gotten from the time we came into the planet, right? And we start to tell ourselves things about our lives that either one, somebody told us, this is how life works. You get up, you brush your teeth, you wash your face, you put your shoes on. If you don't do things in that order, it's nasty, it's this, it's that. Don't come outside with your stinky mouth. Don't talk to people unless you brush your teeth. All those kinds of things become a part of our conditioning. You must bathe in the morning. Some people, you must bathe at night. Some people say you bathe twice. You know what I mean? So everybody has their conditioning, and it becomes a part of how they are. Then they start to go through life experiences, and they wrap themselves around the experiences, and their interpretation, filtered through the stuff they were told, and all this other stuff, right, that they're reading and seeing and observing, becomes a part of what they start to believe about themselves. So they start to say things like, I don't have enough money because. One of my things that I used to say to myself that I had to let go of was, it's my third world mentality. I'm from a third world country, and in third world countries we use everything and reuse it, and you know, because we get value out of it. So I would see that from this perspective of, it's my third world mentality. I can't just throw that Ziploc bag away. I have to reuse it. I can't just do these things. I have to do it a different way. But what I started hearing myself say was a limitation, a lack. I was speaking it into my life, right? That's a conditioning. That's a conditioning. We say we don't have enough. People that went through the Great Depression, child, they got all that. Let's cut the slice of bread in fours. Don't throw the crust away. We can use it to do something else. You know what I mean? Like, so there's this, we get these perceptions and these belief systems based on our experiences. But your experience is good for your right now moment. And it's good as a reference to, but it's not the place that you should be living your life from. So part of yourself being a spiritual being is that you're constantly growing. You're constantly developing. You're constantly unfolding. And if you choose to stay the same, and if you hold on to your old paradigm, you're holding on to death because you're dying. You're not growing. You cannot plant a seed and ask it to stay a seed. You can't. If you put water and a little bit of sunlight, here it comes no matter what you do. Even grass grows through concrete. I don't care what we do, you will find a crack. Grass will grow if there's a grass seed. All living things grow. So what do we do as human beings, as spiritual beings, who have a purpose? We're having a human experience right now. And we each have a purpose. We each have a gift. We each are here to grow, develop, unfold, and become our greater yet to be. The world is different because Bree is here. Absolutely. If she wasn't here, the world would not be the same. My joys and experiences with her would never have been experienced. The children that she teaches, the adult that she teaches, they would know the things that they know because Bree is here. If she wasn't here, it wouldn't happen. You're necessary and important no matter what you do. Even if you're the guy doing the chop the wood, and that's your job, we need the wood. We need the energy and the vibration that you bring into the world. So what are you required to do with this mind, body, and spirit that you're having your human experience in? You're required to tend to it. And so as I was going through, I realized I was in a dark night of the soul, right? Because I was just like, what is going on with me? Why am I so mad all the time? And why am I? Because I was holding on. And the things that I called forth into my life, new loves, new experiences, were challenging me to tap into a place within my own soul that I was like, nah, we're not going there. Come on, man, I just worked really hard to get over here. Why do I need to step up the game again, right? You have to, because you're living. As long as you're breathing and the breath is breathing you, you are called to be more of your own true self. You are called to continue to grow. You are called to continue to develop. You cannot be a seed forever. You have to become a little plant. You have to grow into all that you came to be, whether it's an oak tree or a tomato vine, whatever it is that you have come, you have to. And the moment that you say, this is how I am and I can't change, or when these things happen, then I will. This morning when I was running, what came into me was this thing here, where a lot of people, a lot of people, right? They're living their lives from this place, right, of this wishful thinking. You can't live your life from wishful thinking. That's not living, that's existing. Living your life from, when I get some money, I will. That's not living. You're just showing up every day. If I had enough time, I would. One day, maybe I might. That's living your life from a place of wishful thinking. It's hoping that something's going to happen. And it's not about that prayer that Raymond was talking about, that treat and move your feet, that knowing that Jesus Christ said, pray believing you've already received, knowing that it's done. Then you got to get up off your butt and act like it's done. So you have to start to take measurable, active steps towards your life. So you first need to begin with a spiritual practice. What does my spiritual practice look like? Is it that I get up every morning and I sit in stillness? Or is it that I reach for my cell phone and go to Facebook? Because that, you know what you're calling forth in your life when you do that. Because you're not stopping to get into connection with yourself. And many people give lip service to spiritual practice. But let me tell you something. Your spiritual practice, your secrets, they're demonstrated in your life every day. So if you have a spiritual practice, if you are really tapping into yourself, if you really believe what you say you believe, you're living your life from that place. You're not just talking about it. And it's okay to talk about it for a while if that's what you're doing to condition yourself to start to believe it. But when you believe it, you start to take active, measurable steps, right? Because your life becomes a demonstration of the truth. Your life becomes a demonstration of what it is that you say you believe. And people can tell. So talking about it is kind of pointless unless you're being about it, right? Because your life is about a demonstration. Now here's the deal. You're not living your life to impress anyone or to convince. I'm not trying to convince Raymond that I'm spiritual. I'm not trying to convince Raymond that I'm grounded. I'm not trying to convince Raymond of anything. What I am trying to do is experience my life fully and give from all of my many gifts that I have been given and share them. And then I get to play with Raymond. We get to play all the time because we're both at that place where we're like, I'm tapping into my truth. I am tapping into all of who I am. I am tapping into all that God has brought me here to do, that I say yes to come into the world to do, because I'm an expression of the divine inspiration, the divine creator of all things. That is who I am. And because I know this, coming into the world, just thinking about myself right now, spirit in the body, body in the spirit, how incredible it is that I am who I'm already am when I came into the world. It's like, wait a minute, I have hands that do things, I have feet that do things, and then there's stuff going on in me that I have nothing to do with. Like, I did not get up this morning and say, okay, heartbeat. I didn't say, okay, it's time to breathe, let's... There's some things I can do about accelerating my heart rate if I want to get my cardio on. There's some things I can do about my breath. I can do some quick breathing, or I can do some quiet, gentle breathing. I really can't stop the breath of God from breathing me, though. It just breathes me anyway. So I show up, right, for this incredible being that I am, recognizing that I am a combination of things, that there are some things that I have control over. There are some things that I'm able to stand up and actively engage in. And I'm required to do that. I'm required to do that. So the first thing is, what am I doing with my spirit? What is my spiritual condition about? Is it that I really get up and go to Facebook first? You know, a lot of people do it. We lay in the bed, reach for the phone, and see who's what. And it's so unconscious that we don't even realize we're doing it, right? We're just, oh yeah, oh, look what she's doing on the West Coast. Dad, why are they still up? You know, oh, did he go to the gym today? You know what I mean? It becomes so automatic that we're living our lives walking asleep. There's this beautiful song that Ricky Byers-Beckwith has that says, if you're walking asleep, right? And those were the lyrics. And when I first heard it, I was like, what does that mean? Because, you know, you're singing a song, you don't hear the words, you're just singing the song, and then all of a sudden you realize you're walking asleep. What does walking asleep mean? It means that you're living in an unconscious mental state of being, and then worse, an unconscious spiritual state of being. You're just showing up, sleeping. You get up every day and you go through the motions of your life without any active engagement, without any thought about what am I doing today? How am I showing up today? What is my intention for this day? Most certainly you may be going to the same job to do the same work that you generally do, but what is your intention for today? Do I intend to bring my highest self to this? Do I intend to be an expression of love and light? Do I intend to be truthful, and do I intend to be authentic and harmonious? Do I intend to bring my gifts and talents and to be someone that people are happy to encounter? What is my intention today? Do I intend to have this day be my best day ever? Right? What is my intention? And so when we have a spiritual practice, we learn to do things like this. We learn to wake up, give thanks for the body, give thanks that the spirit is still in the body, that we still have time and opportunity to live the life that we came to live, to bring the gifts that we came to bring. We still have time to deliver them. And then we sit in the stillness. There's something that says so sweet and delicious about just being still and allowing everything. It's sort of like when you turn on a computer and you press the power button. It takes a minute for everything to get online. The monitor doesn't just pop on. Everything kind of comes together, and then it all kind of aligns, right? And then it connects to your network, and then it's connected, right? So there's like this ongoing, network's always on, but you got to turn power on to get the computer to connect. It's the same way within your own soul and within your own spiritual awareness. You have to, because network's always on, God is the network, Spirit is the network, it's always there. But until we turn our consciousness on to become aware of our continued connection to the power and presence that is always everywhere, never absent, we're not going to be able to use this power. We're not going to be able to live with this power and develop all that this power has brought us here to do collectively. So you get into a spiritual practice. Have a practice of stillness. Let me tell you what dropped off of my spiritual practices, just so I just tell on myself. I have a spiritual practice of being still in the mornings, of prayer and meditation, of giving thanks for the body temple, of blessing the earth as it rises up to meet my feet when I put my feet out the bed, giving thanks. Great thing. I do it every single day, no matter what. I have a spiritual practice of being still at night and being quiet before I go to bed, just to kind of bring it down. Lately, I have been engaging in a different kind of practice, which has to do with Law and Order SVU. Just tell me the truth. Me sitting on the couch like this. And then I wake up, I'm like, oh my God, I gotta go to bed. And there's this panic, right? And I'm all engaged. It had become a spiritual practice. I had brought my spirit to that place where I was so engaged in these shows that I would fall asleep to them and then take them to bed with me. Recently, coming out of this dark night, while I was on my vacation, I realized, oh, you gotta be still. You're not being still. You're not honoring that part of your beingness. You're not honoring that part of your spirit that needs to be powered down so that it can rest. Instead, you're taking all this chaos with you into the bed, and then you're wondering why you're not sleeping well. You're wondering what's going on because you haven't powered down. So I'm re-engaged in my spiritual practice of stillness before I go to bed. I'm not just falling into the bed, SVU, and all of them coming with me. You know what I mean? And it makes a big difference in how I rest. It makes a big difference in how I wake up. So these are my spiritual practices. I encourage you to engage in some type of spirit. Tend to your spirit. Treat it like one of my favorite teachers, Reverend Cheryl Ward, calls it the garden of your soul. Go into the garden of your soul, tend to it, be still, be quiet. You don't even have to be a powerful Buddhist meditator. You don't have to chant, you don't have to do any of that. Just be still. Just find a few minutes. My kids do it for 5. Just find a few minutes to sit and be still with yourself and allow everything to come online and get aligned. And see, and give it some time. Don't do it for 3 days and say, this doesn't make any sense. I don't know what she was talking about. Give it some time. You want to create a habit? Give it 30 days. Give it 60 days. Give it some time. You're worth trying a change. You deserve to try to do something better. You deserve that. You would probably give a gift to your friend, right? If your friend called you up and said, I need your help, you would get up out of bed and go help your friend. Well, get up out of your own bed in your own spiritual coma and help yourself. And go in and do some things. Give yourself a chance to experience something different. Or choose to stay in the misery of the old paradigm and complain. But give yourself, you don't have to do that. You can come out from among the sheeple and decide to be different. You can come out and decide, I'm going to try something new. It all sounds really good. I'm going to give it a shot. So you're tending to the spirit, right? But you also have to take care of the body of your fears. It's the move your feet part now. You've got to say, dreams have been placed in my heart for some reason. All of those I'm living on, in the wishful thinking dreams, those wishful thinking dreams are there for a reason. When you start saying, when you hear yourself, pay attention to your thinking now. When you hear yourself say something like, I wish I could, or if I had enough money I would, or if I had enough time I would, that's a desire of your heart struggling to get out of you because you won't let it out. So if this is your desire, look around at your life, look around at your resources, and start to come into active engagement with your heart's desires. If your heart's desire is to be healthier, okay, if I had more time, I would go to the gym. If I had more time, I would get up and run every day. If I had more time, I would exercise. Well, stop wishful thinking. There's something calling you from deep within that's saying, come on, let's get active, let's move. So get up, give it 10 minutes, go for a walk around the block. Every day, take an active step and engage in the body of your fears. If finances, if you wish you had more money, start tending to the money you have. Start treating it with love. Start acting like it matters. Don't just not know how much money's in the bank. Be aware of bank fees. Be aware of things that are there. What are my finances? What am I spending money on? Why am I doing that? Become aware of your affairs. What is my desire? Do I want to be a speaker? Do I want to be a teacher? Work on it. Am I going to work on my curriculum today? If I want to be a teacher, I want to teach this class. I'm teaching a class next month called Financial Freedom. I've been working on the curriculum and fine-tuning it because I don't want the class to not be fun, interactive, and worth my students' time. And more than that, I want to be the best teacher I could be because that's what I'm called forth to do, right? So I'm going to step into that and I'm going to prepare. So you've got to take ownership of the body of your fears. Take a class, go online, learn another language, whatever has been calling you. If you hear yourself say, if I, then, once you do that whole if then, that then is the desire of your soul calling you, screaming at you, begging you to get up off your butt, get out of your mental coma, and do something different. So then now, we've got all this spiritual stuff going and all this activity going. Well, how do I stay motivated? How do I stay on top of it? How do I allow myself to grow when all I have is my old paradigm? Sure, I'm sitting still every morning now, day 29, and I'm getting up and now I'm walking 20 minutes instead of 10, but this is hard. And all my people are looking at me like, what are you doing? Why are you walking around the block? What's going on? Why are you sitting still? Nothing's changing, you just talking foolishness. Here's the other part that you have to do. You have to feed your mind. You have to feed your mind with positive information. Surround yourself with yes people. You need some yes friends. If you have all no friends who think, oh, you sure, that's not that good, you don't have support. And we're from a community. We don't each have our own star because in our own little planet with our own water and food supply because we all need each other. And so we're all in it together. So one of the things that we then do is surround ourselves with like thinkers. Have friends that are going to say, I know you could be a speaker. I know you could do this. I know you can build that house on that island. I know that you're going to be a great yoga instructor. I know you're going to go to Paris and teach. Girl, I see you. You need yes people doing all of that for you to encourage you. You need to be reading things that encourage you. Don't just sit there looking at the internet, scrolling through Facebook, and liking and sharing people's posts. When people share like the good share post where somebody says something really cool and you're like, oh, that's cool, share, and you don't even know what it really said because you haven't taken a moment to really read it and allow it to resonate with your being, and then take active steps to be that person. So don't just be a Facebook sharer, right? I mean, if you're going to be on Facebook, make sure you like some people that have some positive things to say, and that when you are reading their positive posts, that you take some time with, you're awesome, you're amazing, you can be anything you want to be. You know, you have to recognize that everything is happening in the power and presence of God. There's no spot where God is not. God is happening always, all the time, never turned off, always present. And all you have to do is tap into it and do your part. So the move your feet stuff is about getting up and stepping into the truth of who you are. It's about engaging every day in a spiritual practice. It's about saying every day, I am going to take a measurable step. Whether it's just to read about what it would take to build a house, whether it's just to read about places where you could build a house, whether it's just to say, today I'm going to research, tomorrow I'm going to make a plan, next week I'm going to, sometimes you have the plan, your active thing is just to look at the plan and fine tune the plan and say, okay, the plan is that January I'm going to do this with my friend, so I'm going to meet my friend and we're going to talk about it and we're going to put it together, and it may not be until September till you can launch what's going to happen, or even maybe the end of October, who knows. But every day you have to be engaged in, hey, what do you think about this? What about this idea? And surround yourself with like-minded, powerful, positive energy. You have to surround yourself with people that will honor your beliefs in God, your way of being with God, and not tear it down or try to attack it. Surround yourself with people, because you can't always be on guard. You cannot function when you're on guard all the time. There has to be a place for you, a place to rest in love and light and joy. There has to be a place for you to lean into power and presence with grace and ease. There has to be that place, and you are the only one that can create it. You cannot sit and wait for it to happen. You are the one that creates that energy, that vibration, because it's all there. You have to press the power button, let everything come online, and get ready to work. You know, and get ready to throw yourself into that which you were called to do. I'm really grateful, you know, to be coming through this time. It was like this moment when I just surrendered and said, okay, next level, here we go. And it was like almost like a birthing thing, right? Because I was coming out of yet another level of incubation and darkness, releasing, and I surrendered, I think probably around day 7 of my vacation, maybe day 8, might have been 9, who knows. But somewhere earlier this week, I surrendered to the awareness that it's time to move to the next level. And moving to the next level means you got to let things fade away. You got to release things that don't serve you anymore. They can be a reference point, but they can't be your starting point. They can't be your living point. You got to let it go. You got to trust in the divine and know that you have been brought this far, not just to survive, but to thrive, to live fully, wholly, and completely. There has never been a time where a problem wasn't dealt with, where you didn't survive, where you didn't get through it. There has never been a time where you wouldn't be sitting in here today. So trust that truth, trust that awareness, and give thanks for all that you are, and then get your A game on. And you might have to start with your B game, and that's okay, but we're working for the A, right? We're shooting for the A. Get your A game on. Let's go. It's been such a privilege for me to live the life that I'm living. And I want to tell you all that I have walked through so much. And if I were to sit here and I revealed some things to some of my students the other day, and they went into like shock. You did what? You know? And I've walked through so much. And sometimes I'm just amazed that I'm still standing. And I'm even more amazed about how happy I am and how much life I have and how excited I am about being alive and opportunities. I've been to hell. I am not afraid of that. What I am most afraid of is staying stuck and not moving through to the next thing. Like, that's not ever anything I want. And I'm so grateful for the teachers that have come into my life, that have taught me, that have loved me, that have been rocks, that have said, I will walk with you, I will show you, I will honor you. And I am most grateful that I was willing and courageous enough to say yes and thank you. That's the biggest part, is the willingness. Because there are opportunities every day. They're coming every day, windows of opportunity. And it's up to you. If you don't say yes, you're the one staying stuck watching the passing parade of other people living their lives. So I want to take a moment to honor one of my earliest teachers, Reverend Nirvana Gale, who made his transition earlier this week. And my heart just cracked wide open, and knowing he was ill, and being human, and having all the spiritual stuff, and being grateful that he's released the body and no longer in pain, and being sad that I don't ever get to shoot him an inbox or shoot him a message or say, hey Rev, how are you, or see him somewhere and do that, has been very intense for me. But what I've tapped into the last couple of days is how much he is still very present in life. And so I just want to give thanks for Nirvana Gale and bless his family right where they are, and the entire guidance and agape and CSL community, because the space that he has left is vast and huge. And while we will grow accustomed to the space of his physical presence no longer being here, we will never have another Reverend Nirvana Gale. I'm just so grateful for all my many blessings. I want to tell each one of you that you are powerful and amazing and magnificent. You're incredible. You are unique. There's only one of you. You have come with something special that the world needs. Don't sit on your butt and squander it. Get up off the proverbial couch and go live your life. Tap into your dreams and trust in all that is calling you to be all that you have come to be. So for this and so much more, I'm giving thanks for your life, because I get to see you all live magnificently. Thank you so much for having me and for sitting and listening.